All right, welcome to So What's the Catch here on All Sports Cleveland. And we good, Chirk?
Yeah, we're
good? Yeah, okay.
Before we get into the show, we have a new member to the team.
What's up, guys? It's Brian.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yep.
Figured, might as well just have a different voice for to add to the mix. Could be an interesting, diverse combination of people and opinions, and
I think so.
Things.
Love the tie-dye, by the way.
I appreciate that, my guy.
All right, so let's start this off. There was a big contract extension in the NFL. Josh Allen signing a 6-year, $258 million extension with the Bills, $150 million guaranteed. The dude deserved it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
After what he did with the Bills this past season, yeah.
He's far and away the best quarterback of that class. He's the first one to get paid.
Really?
Yes. Far and away the best quarterback of that class.
Lamar Jackson has something to say about that one.
Lamar Jackson needs to become a better passer first.
Remember the time
Baker Mayfield's ceiling has something to say about that.
Baker Mayfield? Yes.
We'll get to that
I'm with you on that, Brian. I'm with you on that, Brian.
Yeah.
I know James hates that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see Chirk's got the sunglasses.
Oh, yeah,
Keeping it
you need
cool
to be
in the
having the
dessert box.
sunglasses.
Yep.
You good over there, Kramer?
I am now. Finally found my phone, and I am back. And
Josh Allen, he's my guy. He's the guy I wanted the Browns to take number 1 overall in that
I
that
did
draft.
too. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted him at the number 1 pick. I think he's, far and above as of now, the best out of that class. But I do think there's a couple people that have a high ceiling that may have something to say about that.
And we'll get into that person right now. And that was a comment about Baker Mayfield, the potential
This is something big.
negotiations.
This is something Baker said directly from a press conference.
The quote was, "I'm not doing the negotiation, so quite frankly, I don't give a damn."
I love it.
From his perspective, he's right. He's not doing the negotiation, or should he? But let's be honest here. Let's take a look into a possible Baker Mayfield extension.
What that might look like.
What that might look like, because depending on who you look at, depending on who you talk to, you see different numbers and years get thrown around, and some of the numbers are eye-popping because they're way too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's Josh Allen's coming out to? 40-some million per year?
I believe so. He's getting $150 million guaranteed.
Right. I think it was like 46, 48 million a year, something like that. So obviously he's going to have...
So it's close to 50.
Right. So where do we put Baker if that's where we got Josh Allen is the question. And, how far below that 46, 48 million range? Is he worth 40 million?
That's such a hard question to answer because he's been so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where he comes in the 2018 season off of an injury by Tyrod Taylor, so that's an unfortunate way to come in to your first game.
Team wasn't that good either.
Yeah, I was actually at that Thursday night Jets game when Baker made his debut, so it was pretty incredible. And he did pretty well the rest of that season. And then he comes back in 2019. We get Odell. We're on like 4 or 5 primetime games, and he struggled. And then he comes back last season, and I wouldn't say he lit the world on fire, but he did pretty good. So it's like, which version of Baker Mayfield are we going to get? I don't know.
So the way I look at things is that the first half of last season, he was like bottom level of the league bad for the first half of the entire season. He was bad. He was benchable. Sorry, I don't care what anyone says. They probably should have benched him a couple times during that stretch.
They did.
They benched him once because of injury.
Oh, you mean against the Steelers?
if you asked me at the end of last season and you had said $40 million, do you think that's what Baker should get a year? I would have scoffed, right?
Right.
And you're saying all the reasons why, because when you put together his body of work last season, it wasn't worth that. But with these new contracts coming out, I kind of see where Brian's going too, that can we really say $40 million a year is all that expensive anymore compared to some of these other new contracts?
No, you can't.
That's a fair point. However, when you look at those other quarterbacks, you got to look at what their skill set is, what part of the offense they're responsible for. So for Josh Allen, I've used this phrase before, I'm going to use it again. He's what drives their offense. Lamar Jackson is what drives their offense. Patrick Mahomes is what drives their offense.
Baker?
Baker Mayfield is a passenger of the offense while the running game drives it. We're
Yeah.
not paying $40 million for a passenger of the offense.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
agree with you on that one because if you look at like Josh Allen, for example, he's as you said, the engineer. Like he's the one throwing the deep balls to Stephon Diggs, and he can beat you with his legs. And it's kind of the reverse with Lamar Jackson. We'll see if the Ravens can evolve their passing offense, but you're right. Baker is just like, here's the ball, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, go do your thing.
Yeah, I don't see the problem with that at the moment. When you got a backfield as talented as that, I mean, of course you're going to lean on the running game. So I don't hold that against Baker. But I think one thing that Baker has now that he hasn't had before is stability.
That's fair.
And if you ask me, any season with Freddie Kitchens as your head coach, it's a wash. I mean,
That's also
I'm
a fair
sorry,
point.
but that year, I don't look at that year. I do think that the criticism of last year is fair. I think he did get off to a rough start, but I think he got hot at the right time and started showing flashes of what a number one pick should look like.
Correct.
And the only reason I asked $40 million, I don't think anybody's worth $40 million, but that's what the league is dictating. I mean, the market forces are where they are. He's somewhere to me between Josh Allen and, who's a tier 2 guy below him. Who else just got a big contract? Is it Dak?
Yeah, Dak.
Dak. Yeah, to me, it's like, is he Dak range? Is he between Dak
I have
and...
that next level below Dak.
You think Dak is a tier above
Ooh,
Baker?
you think
do.
Dak's
Okay.
a tier above
Okay.
Baker?
Yes, I do.
So
Because
who
again,
are your tier 1 quarterbacks?
This list can go on forever, but tier 1 would be Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen has just entered the conversation.
Okay.
Okay, so
Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes also in that conversation. Tier 2, you're going to have your Matt Staffords, your Russell Wilsons, your Lamar Jacksons.
Okay.
Tier 3
Russell
is
Wilson.
Baker Mayfield, Ryan Tannehill, Jared Goff.
So let me ask you about one of your quarterbacks, and
Which one?
we'll talk about him when we get to the NFC West segment. But why is Russell Wilson not in your tier 1?
Because he's not an elite quarterback. He is a good
Thank
quarterback.
you.
He's not elite.
How?
Tier 1.
I agree with you there. I think that the only thing I disagree on is I think that Baker and Dak belong in the same tier. I don't necessarily know if that's tier 2, tier 3, whatever it may be. I think they're very comparable, and the best availability or the best ability is availability. And one thing about Baker is he stayed healthy last year for the most part, and Dak has had issues. And
That's fair.
If Dak is worth the amount of money that they decided to pay him per year, Baker has a very good argument, at least his agents do, that he belongs in the conversation of that much money, and that's why I threw out the $40 million number.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to read you 2 sets of numbers here, okay?
Let's
It's
hear
something
it.
I did on my radio show yesterday, so rehash for anyone still listening from yesterday.
Awesome.
Okay.
I love this.
So, through 47 games, age 25 season, 11,494 passing yards, 81 touchdowns, 31 interceptions, 60.9 completion percentage.
This is for
That's
Baker?
player 1.
Oh, okay.
Player 2, 11,115 yards, 75 touchdowns, 43 interceptions, 61% completion percentage in 46 games through age 25 season.
Ooh.
Okay.
So one's Baker,
One's Baker.
obviously.
Is one player Scott?
Are you referring to Case Keenum?
No.
Okay, I was going to say, if his backup put up numbers like that, there'd
No.
be an argument for
Yeah,
him to
the
be...
other player is the player I think they should model his extension after,
Scott player?
and that is Derek Carr of the Raiders.
Not Scott.
Ooh.
Oh, come on.
Ooh.
What?
Numbers don't lie. I'm sorry. He
Yeah,
has
the-
more passing yards. He has more touchdowns. Fewer
Oh, there's-
interceptions.
there-
One more game.
Did you
Proper
just hear
use
the
of a
sound
sound
effect?
Oh, man. Baker's a gamer, guys. I mean, I
But-
think...
I mistimed it.
Let's look at this here.
Did
No, yeah, okay,
You know-
the numbers don't lie.
And
You're
you know
right.
what- You know what the contract extension they gave Derek Carr? 5 years, $125 million.
Okay. So you
Okay.
think Baker belongs in that
I think
range?
he belongs in that contract range. Now,
I
it's
think the
like-
Browns would be
it's-
smitten if they could get him for that
I agree
price.
too. Escalate the numbers, increase them just a little bit because of time and the way things work, but maybe 25 becomes 30.
Yeah.
Okay, but he should be closer to 25 than 40.
Brian makes a point though, right? Because we're getting kind of out into the weeds here, which is what you do on this kind of show. I get it, but when it comes down to this situation, what I'm worried about is the Baker Mayfield and Browns situation, the contract. When you go into these negotiations, I think the Browns really need to have their mind set on if they need to keep this guy or if they're willing to lose him. Because in any negotiation you go into, you have to know what you're willing to lose. So then then the question becomes, if you don't want to pay Baker that much, if maybe he gets that much somewhere else, what's your plan B? What's the next step? So,
Right.
I hope, there's smart people. I hope there's smart people in the front office thinking about this already.
I mean, so here's the thing. Let's say they pay Baker $40 million. That means you're losing both OBJ and Jarvis Landry. And that means you're also probably going to be losing Austin Hooper.
And
so who is he passing the ball to? What we've seen is that he's not necessarily someone who's able to elevate those no-name guys up to that next level.
That's
He's
true.
also someone who is very dependent on the new offense they put in, which relies a lot on timing and schemed guys open. I love Donovan Peoples-Jones. I don't think Donovan Peoples-Jones is ready to replace OBJ just yet.
No.
But the opposite situation, though, is now you have all these great receivers, but no quarterback.
Right. What's the alternative? That's my thing with the Baker argument. My
fair.
biggest thing is it's not just Baker versus Derek Carr or Dak Prescott. It's Baker versus the alternative. And when it comes down to contract negotiations, it's, okay, if this isn't our guy, what's our alternative? And how do we get there? Is it through the draft? Is it through a trade? Because if they're not all in on Baker right now, with how good this roster and how talented this roster is, then we need to start looking now.
I agree with you, and I'll make one last point, then we got to head to commercial, and I think the fact that we went through so much quarterback turnover for so long has people hesitant to be looking elsewhere when we have someone who's at least performed at an adequate level at this point so far.
That's a fair point.
We need to head to commercial.
Fair.
We're going to come back. We got some more extension talk, but this time in the NBA.
Awesome.
Flagship home of Lake County Captains Baseball.
Isaac scores and the Captains walk it off on opening night.
We are the talk of the land. AllSportsCleveland.com. Valley View, Cleveland.
We always like to talk contract extensions, and that's what we did in that last segment. So we're going to continue talking about it right now.
sounds fun.
The Mavericks paid Luka Doncic. They did the right thing. 5-year, $207 million Supermax rookie extension to keep Luka in Dallas.
MVP.
He's definitely an MVP type player, and they did the right thing. I know there was some rumors that he might want to get out and leave, but obviously Dallas is not entertaining those at all.
They need to get rid of Porzingis, though.
I agree with that.
I
He's not a
agree
good
with that
fit.
too.
Come to the Cavs. I'll trade Kevin Love.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Speaking of Cavs, how do you feel about that contract Jared Allen got?
I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it.
It's miserable. It reminds me of Tristan Thompson's contract.
We just bought out.
Tristan Thompson was good.
We just recently bought out Drummond.
But was he a max player?
He wasn't,
He
but-
was not a max player. He might
wasn't,
be the
but-
worst player to ever get a max
I
contract.
liked let me say this. Did I love the contract that Tristan got? No. But did he earn it? Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of going back to what we were saying earlier, him versus the alternative type
Right.
deal. With what he did to contribute to that team.
Right.
That's a good point.
But I hate the Jared Allen contract. It makes no sense with the fact that they drafted Evan Mobley, who's going to be their center in 2 years from now.
Well,
He's a small forward.
He's not. He's 7 feet
Yeah,
tall.
he's
He is
a
not small
7-footer.
forward.
There's Dirk. I'm
Dirk
Dirk
was a power forward then a center.
Dirk.
I don't think what Turk is saying is that far out. I think
Really?
that, I mean, when you look at the stretch four in today's NBA and what those players are built like, is he huge for a stretch four? Yes, but the game is changing, and
Yeah.
that position is so important. And if he does grow into a guy who can knock down that outside shot, having Jared Allen at center, I mean, it works.
Here's where I'll push back on that, because I get where you're going, because the Lakers, and we'll get into the Lakers in a minute or two, about how they decided to go against the trend of playing small ball and going big, but for the most part, the league is doing small ball and positionless basketball. So to me, it just doesn't make sense to have a Jared Allen who's a 7-footer and then Evan Mobley, who's also a 7 player. It doesn't make sense.
I also disagree with you on that because I think centers are starting to make more of an impact in the NBA with the dribbling skills and three-point shot.
Just because the Cavs load up
I think
on
we're actually
centers
having
every
more
year
of an
doesn't make that
influx
true.
of the center position too.
Just because the Cavs load up on centers every year doesn't make that true.
No, I'm talking about the league in general. When you were talking
Wait,
about small ball.
who are you disagreeing with exactly?
Everyone.
Small ball? I mean, there's Nikola Jokic.
You're not on an island by yourself,
Nikola
Trick. I know
Jokic
where you're going, and I.
won the MVP.
But
Yeah, that's a fair point. Jokic won the MVP. He's not a. I mean, that's not what a center looked like in the '80s. You know,
that's
a
a fair
different
point.
looking
That's
center.
true.
That's
But then Jokic got ejected in Game 4 of their second round series against Phoenix.
Here's what I'll say about Mobley and the fact that they have Jared Allen already on the roster. As we've seen with the player we just mentioned like a minute or two ago, Kristaps Porzingis, all it takes is one injury to turn a superstar like that into ordinary.
That's a fair
And when
point,
they're an
too.
ordinary player, a guy that's that big has to play center.
So
Right.
who should they have took at number 3 then?
Jalen Suggs.
I would be fine with still taking Evan Mobley, but not re-signing Jared Allen to that
Okay,
deal.
so you still like the pick. You're
I like
not against the pick.
I hate the pick with Jared Allen's
Okay.
contract.
Yeah.
All right. That's now we're on the same
And
page.
we-
Alright.
That's where I was confused.
You still got Sexton and Garland and Love too on top.
Sexton shouldn't be here.
Yeah, Sexton,
and then
no
Love's
thanks.
contract on top.
No thanks.
This comes up every week. Sure, Sexton shouldn't be here.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him.
Back to Luka though, I think he definitely deserved that contract for what he's done. Like if he wasn't there, I don't think they'd be going to the playoffs.
No.
They wouldn't because that team stinks.
He's the future of the NBA. I mean, when you look at with the Olympics just ending and how these teams started competing with the NBA, the international game is catching up to the NBA, and Luka being an international star, I mean, he deserves every penny of it and more because I think he's the face of the future NBA in my opinion.
Really?
I think I think he's young enough now and good, talented enough already, and he's going to see the longevity that. To me, I just see him being a Dirk type player that stays in Dallas through his whole career, and that Cuban's going to shekel out whatever he's got to do to try to put a good team around him.
So, speaking of putting out a good team and remaking, the Lakers said, okay, we didn't do well last season. Let's completely remake our roster. What do you think of them adding Westbrook to LeBron and Anthony Davis? I personally don't like it.
The Western Conference is screwed. That's what I think it is.
You got two players that are known for triple Russells. I'll say that.
Triple
Oh
Russells.
my God!
No,
No, you can't. No.
So here's the thing: is that as we've seen with LeBron, as he's gotten older, he needs time off from time to time. He needs to get a lesser workload. And if there's anyone perfectly suited to take on a bigger workload when LeBron needs to either take a game off or just ease off a bit through a game, it's Russell Westbrook. It really is.
Sure.
But the problem is Westbrook wants to play fast and go flying to the basket and go up tempo and all that. LeBron doesn't want to do that anymore. He wants to slow the game down, play half court. I just don't. It's like fire and ice trying to get them
So
to
Russell
make.
Westbrook just gives the ball to Anthony Davis.
You guys forgot one more free agent in there.
What?
Mr. Probably gonna get his growth stunted. Malik Monk.
What?
He's a backup. He's fine.
Yeah, he's.
I see so much potential in him. Him playing with the Lakers is stunning his growth.
Listen, if Malik Monk is able just to be there and score, he'll get paid like Alex Caruso did for some reason, and he'll find somewhere else to go.
Yes.
Some people say Alex Caruso's a GOAT now. They like paid.
No.
Listen, everyone just likes calling him Caruso for some reason, but the Bulls made a mistake in paying for him.
Yeah, I think so too.
And they got
He's basically just a meme. He's not a player.
He is a
They
meme.
also got triple B's on the team.
Triple B's.
Yeah, triple B's.
Who?
Lonzo Ball.
Oh, okay.
Big baller berserk.
Big baller berserk.
Okay, I'm like.
Come at me, LeVar.
Okay, so I guess
me,
we're
LeVar.
going to this now.
I guess we'll go to the Bulls for a minute now for a little short detour. But what do you think of the Bulls? They got Lonzo Ball, they got DeMar DeRozan. I think that they got better, but I don't think they're good.
Are they getting rid of Kobe White?
No, I don't. Not that I know of. I think he's going to be their backup point guard because you're not going to bench Lonzo.
Yeah, I don't like
Lonzo's
Levine.
better.
I just don't see how this roster fit. I don't see the starting five. Like it's like some of these players don't need to be on the court at the same time.
So let me help
That's
you.
confusing to me.
Let me help you out with that. You're gonna have Lonzo at point guard, Levine at shooting guard, most likely, DeRozan at small forward, Patrick Williams, the guy that got out of Florida State, probably starting at power forward, and then Vucevic.
That's a good lineup.
He's scoring a whopping 83 points a game.
But the key, what I like about that lineup is you can do a lot of pick and rolls with Ball and Vucevic, where Vucevic will set the pick and he'll roll the basket, easy lob.
And he can pick and pop too.
That's
He can also
exactly.
pick and
That's
pop.
what I'm trying to say. Thanks.
Roll, pick, pop.
This would be a great offense from 1984. Okay, this is they're.
Are they a good Eastern Conference team?
I think
You know,
they're-
are they a top 8 team in the Eastern Conference with
Yes.
this roster? And that's
Yes, they are.
They're top
Yeah.
8, so that's mission accomplished.
Not saying
I
much
think they could be a
though.
mid-tier.
Yeah.
Their potential's a mid-tier second round exit. That's their potential.
We'll see.
That's their potential.
I don't see them winning a playoff series with that team.
Unless they get matched up against a team that gets riddled by injuries at the end of the season, that's the only way I see them advancing.
Should they bring back Andres Nocioni?
Oh my god!
Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh wow. Going.
Turning back the clock.
Yeah.
Alright,
but-
so
I love doing that.
yeah, you do. What if
let's-
they get matched up with the Miami Heat?
That'll be
they'll
interesting.
lose.
What do you think of the Heat? And they re-signed Jimmy Butler, and they just added Kyle Lowry.
They're fine. They're not good. They're fine.
So you think their finals run 2 years ago was a complete and total fluke then?
The bubble was a lie.
Yeah. I mean, you could say the same thing for the Lakers too, though.
You can.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah.
But that Heat team was not good, and their insistence on not trading Tyler Hero is why they sucked last year. They were not good.
Stubborn. Yeah, they were very stubborn.
They were not a good team.
Jack Harlow still made a good song called Tyler Hero.
And there's Kramer's little addition.
I hate basketball.
Kyle Lowry is not going to be the difference from where they were last year and somehow like making a finals run.
I don't agree with you on that one.
Kyle Lowry is fine, but he's not like a huge difference maker. He's a floor raiser, not a ceiling raiser. He's not. They already have a good floor, so he's not raising anything.
I'm not saying Miami's going to make the finals, but to say they're not going to be better than last year,
They're not going to be big enough of a difference to be like, oh my God, it's the Heat. It's going to be like, oh, the Heat.
Again, they're lucky to be in the Eastern Conference, though.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's always a chance of making a little bit of noise in the East.
Yep.
Depending on injuries and what teams are entering the postseason healthy and what aren't. I mean, that's the thing with the Lakers, just to kind of track back to that for a minute.
Okay.
I mean, how out of LeBron, AD, and Westbrook, can they win a championship with one of those guys injured for the entire postseason? With the roster they have now. If
Which one?
It depends which one.
Yeah.
Okay, so who can they win still with if so and so gets injured? So who do you think can get injured and they could still win?
Westbrook.
I would say Anthony Davis.
You would say Anthony Davis.
I would say Anthony Davis.
See, I would say Westbrook, and that's the the thing about that trade with me is like it's like they're back in the same position. Unless all three of these guys are healthy going into the postseason, they're kind of going to be back in that same boat. And I just don't. The age of that team just scares me. I don't know.
That's fair. And we got about a minute left here. But speaking of a now former Laker, Dennis Schroeder with an all-time case of the Dunning-Kruger effect in action. He turned down a 4-year, $84 million contract from the Lakers because he wanted $120 million. He recently just signed for a $5.9 million taxpayer mid-level exception for 1 year.
Oh my
With
goodness.
the Boston Celtics.
That's what happens.
So if you aren't familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect, it's over-evaluating your own skill at something.
Yes, it's like you start doing something and you think you're an expert all of a sudden, and then the more you stick around, you realize, oh wait, the longer I'm here, the less I know. You gain wisdom. But yeah, that Dunning-Kruger effect is like that's a perfect example of it. He overplayed his hand.
He went from averaging $21 million a year to getting 6 for this year, and he's not going to get much
He
more
could have
after this
finessed
year.
the Lakers. It was just.
He's going to play for the terrible Boston Celtics and rot on that bench. But we got to head to commercial. When we come back, we are going to be talking about controversies.
everyone's favorite season, autumn, from Triple Threat, and you're listening to AllSportsCleveland.com, the home of the NEL Christmas Classic.
Welcome back to So What's the Catch here on All Sports Cleveland. And before we get into the controversy, just wanted to share one quick thing about the Lakers, which is I think they have a lack of shooting in terms of three-pointers. And this is interesting because when LeBron was with the Heat in 2013, they were playing the Spurs. Danny Green was playing for the Spurs. He set the record for the most three-point shots made in the finals. Fast forward to 2016, LeBron is playing for the Cavs. They're playing against the Warriors. Steph Curry breaks Danny Green's record, but the Warriors lost. So I just thought that was kind of interesting that the team LeBron was playing sets the record for the most three-point shots, but they lost.
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting take on that,
So
for sure.
It's like, does LeBron really want shooting? I don't know.
I think it begs the question, too, does LeBron want to win another championship, or does he just want to put the banana boat together and just go out? You know, he's happy? It seems like he's very happy in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I mean, is he to the point now where he's just like, I'm just going to get my boys together?
Because he brought Carmelo there, too.
Yeah, it's like, to me, it's like... this doesn't seem to me like he's trying to build a championship roster.
Yeah.
It seems to me like he's like just kind of happy with getting a team of his boys together and just seeing what they can do.
Yeah. So getting into this controversy, a former Cleveland Indian, one of the better ones I would say, Omar Vizquel is in a lot of hot water.
To put it lightly, he's a scumbag.
Eesh.
I'm not holding back on this. Total scumbag move. He has been. There's a report out there that he was alleges that he was harassing a bat boy for the Birmingham Barons, the AA minor league team.
For what team?
That he was a manager for. He was sexually harassing the bat boy, who also happens to be. I believe it's autistic.
Yeah, he has autism.
That's even worse then.
Yeah.
And apparently the Bat Boys said that Vizquel targeted him specifically because of the disability.
I mean, that's what predators do, you know. It doesn't surprise me one bit. It makes the story even more disgusting, though, to know that, I mean, there's always a victim in these cases, but when a victim is so, you know, helpless and taken advantage of, it's just like, I'm with you, he's a scumbag. I mean,
and it gets worse and worse, like even more. The guy was like somebody that he thought was a friend, or he claimed like he thought Vizquel was his friend.
Of course.
He sat and talked to him a lot, like he specifically targeted him. And then at one point he claims that he came to him during a game, like in the middle of a game, went over and said to him, hey, you know I'm gay, and I like guys. So apparently the Bat Boy was like, oh, okay, I don't want to be with you, and I don't want to reciprocate that. Well, then further down the line, he exposed himself to him and forced the dude to wash his back, and the dude went and told the team managers about this, and they laughed at him and told him what happens in the clubhouse stays in the clubhouse.
Wow.
So man, the deeper you get into that, it's just disgusting, and it's more like, yeah, it's disgusting Omar Vizquel, obviously, but man, like the whole culture of it is disgusting. The whole idea that this played out and like people were okay with it.
Is it the White Sox organization, the Birmingham Barons?
Yeah, that's what I was asking before.
Yeah, I mean, the Chicago White Sox need to get out ahead of this thing and come out and make a statement or something, and somebody needs to lose their job because it's just despicable. But
yeah,
as a guy who, you know, a kid who grew up loving baseball in the 90s that wanted to be a professional baseball player, I mean, that man, Omar Vizquel, gave me so much joy in my youth. But reading these allegations, I'm with you. I have no problem saying this guy's a scumbag, and I don't feel sorry for him in the least. I hope he gets the maximum punishment that's available to him.
But you know what's crazy? At the end of this story, there's actually not been any criminal charges filed yet.
Why?
I don't know. It doesn't say. It just ends the story saying no criminal charges have been filed against Vizquel in connection to the Bat Boys' claims, and he, meanwhile, he was fired 2 weeks ago, or last week from the Mexican Baseball League's Tijuana Bulls. So
Jeez.
I don't know if that's an issue with like statute of limitations. Maybe the victim doesn't want to go forward and take it to court, but for whatever reason, he's not going to be facing, it looks like, criminal charges.
So it looks like back in 2019 he was let go by the Barons for what I'm assuming is this incident which led to an MLB investigation. So it sounds like just the details are becoming public now about what has happened
Okay.
and all of the civil action that is going on with this. But either way, yeah.
Okay, it does say that the Chicago White Sox did let go of Vizquel for that, but they have declined to comment any further on the lawsuit or anything happening.
Gotcha.
But just because he's not currently being, tried criminally, they're still, they can file a civil suit against him. So the victim still has other avenues that they can take to hopefully achieve some kind of justice from this situation.
So, on a similar related story, the NCAA has handed Baylor football unrelated probation, fines, and after investigating a mishandled sexual assault. It says from the Score through the Associated Press, the NCAA Infractions Committee said Wednesday, so that's today, that its years-long investigation into the Baylor sexual assault scandal would result in 4 years probation and other sanctions. Through the unacceptable behavior at the heart of the case did not violate NCAA rules.
My goodness.
Yeah. I could keep reading the article, but don't really want to.
But yeah, not a whole lot of good things were happening at Baylor, which is why this has gotten to where it is now. But this seems like a kind of a light punishment for NCAA.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's saying that the NCAA said they didn't find enough proof to show that they committed the infractions related to the report of the allegations.
And
so
unfortunately, that happens so much with college football.
It does.
It does, and it begs the question of what is the culture at Baylor, that, or not just at Baylor, but in Division I college football, that these things come and go. It seems like every week another one of these stories is coming out.
Right.
As a University of Michigan fan, I mean, the stuff with Bo Schembechler that's been coming out lately, and it's just like there's just such a culture of abuse and people keeping secrets, and it's just kind of disgusting.
It just feels like the line of the punishment line, if you will, moves for all these situations.
Yes.
Like, it seems, based on what I read, it doesn't seem like it feels like Baylor's just getting kind of like
Slap on the wrist.
Yeah, a slap on the wrist. Whereas, you had the whole Jerry Sandusky situation at Penn State, and
That still wasn't severe enough.
Yeah,
But-
it's like, how severe does it need to be before the NCAA finally says enough is enough?
Right,
I
but-
mean, they did so, with the Mississippi State back in the
SMU.
SMU.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I always mix those two up. It's
They gave that program the death penalty.
Right.
That's
and
what they need to do with
they
these
need to
big-time
do
programs.
exactly when these programs are caught in these type of situations. The only way to make change is to strike fear into these people that are abusing people, and the only way to do that is to actually penalize these people when they're caught doing these ridiculous infractions.
And the program too.
What's that, Chirk?
No, what happened to Penn State? Didn't they take off the whole record?
They did a lot of record manipulation.
Right, a lot of asterisks.
And
were
they
added
took
to
down
their
like the
records.
Joe Paterno statue that they
Right.
had put up outside Beaver Stadium, which I still don't understand why that stadium's called Beaver Stadium.
It's not the best name.
What's
but-
frustrating in all these situations is how, like with the NCAA being a big corporate entity, and baseball too, they just fall back onto bureaucracy. Oh, we can't comment on that because it's still in court. We didn't have enough proof for that. I mean, you don't need enough proof. This isn't like a criminal proceeding. And at a certain point, like, you have to humanize and like just admit when you make these mistakes.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's hard to remember sometimes that it's just football,
Yeah.
And these things are bigger than the game,
Or you
and they
had-
need to be treated as
Right.
such.
You had the Louisville situation with Rick Pitino. I think it was Rick Pitino, right?
Yeah, Rick
Yeah,
Pitino.
yep.
In that whole situation, I don't think the NCAA handled that fully.
No.
correctly.
NCAA never handles anything correctly.
The NFL doesn't even handle it right with Robert Kraft.
I tell you what, though,
Yeah.
you get a tattoo for free. You know, they'll come down with the hammer of God on
the
you.
most ridiculous thing.
It is. It's like you see the punishment that was doled out over some kids. You know, driving rental cars and getting tattoos, and it's like, I mean, they treated that so swiftly and aggressively, but then these issues that are so like such real human issues
And personal, too.
yeah, exactly. There's just no humanity from
Right.
the NCAA.
I think, like in general, it mirrors the society. Sports mirrors the society, and in our society, we've swept sexual crimes under the rug while we've exposed, violent crime. That's supposed to be the big scary thing is violent crime. And through the years, I think sexual crimes have been hidden. And now, like in general, more things are coming to the light. People have cell phones and cameras in their hands 24/7, and it just seems like more and more is coming out. All this stuff's been happening for years,
Right.
And now we're finding out about it.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. The immediacy of information being out now. It's like when these things happen, we know it because we get an alert on our phone.
Right.
And back then, it was like you almost had to start a movement to gain awareness for these guys doing something like that. And it's like, who has the time, to do something like that as a fan?
Right.
How come the Robert Kraft one is still being swept under the rug?
I have no idea.
It's still an active
Case. Yeah.
So it's not necessarily being swept under the rug. It's one of those things where they can't comment it because it's an active case.
Right.
So.
But real quick, before we head to commercial, there could have been a much larger controversy in Major League Baseball. It was a game between the Rockies and Marlins. Lewis Brinson was at the plate. There was a drunk individual behind the plate screaming for the Rockies mascot, whose name is Dinger. But it didn't sound like Dinger on the broadcast. It sounded like a racial slur, and that's what the internet ran away with.
Yes.
And it did not sound good. When I first heard it, I thought it was a racial slur. I thought he was taunting the African-American player in the box. But upon further review and audio and better video, wider video, you can see he's pointing at the stupid Stegosaurus mascot.
Right.
To be like yelling, this 45-year-old man being like, "Hey, Dinger, come here, let's go party." Like, dude, come on.
Really? No.
Yeah, so, yeah, not a good look at first. Turns out, not necessarily controversial, but sometimes at the end of the day, you need to look at things from the broad perspective, take a step back, and not rush to judgment. And this is one of those situations where the internet ran away with it.
Right. I mean, Jeremy, what you were just speaking on is just this is a perfect example of it. And when things like this happen, it's important that you wait until you have all of the evidence in front of you to actually, go over these things. But we'll come back to that later.
Yeah, that's a good point. But we need to take a little break. When we got back, we're going to be going over pressure scales for some NFL quarterbacks and some those down in Columbus.
It may be hard to believe, but people...
Listening to your exclusive home of the 2017 Barron Cup, allsportscleveland.com.
Welcome back to So What's the Catch? Apparently on the exclusive home of something that happened 4 years ago. We need some new intros and bumpers and stuff. But we got some pressure in the NFC West. Josh, would you like to give us a quick rundown of how we're doing this?
So this is a segment we did a few episodes ago for the AFC North, which we will revisit that division at the end, but we are going to start with the NFC West. So what I want you to do is rank the 4 quarterbacks from 4 to 1 on who is under the most pressure to succeed this season after what they did last season.
Didn't we already do this?
That was for the AFC.
This
That
is
was
for NFC West.
Yeah, NFC West this time.
And we will be redoing the AFC North, but that'll be in a few weeks.
So
We're going to go
four is the
through.
least amount of pressure, one's the most.
Yes.
Okay, low to high.
Yep.
Yep,
Low to high.
Low to high. Okay.
Least amount of pressure.
So you want to start then?
Come back to me. Circle back to me.
All right. You want to start with this one, Brian?
We're starting with who do I think has the least amount of pressure?
Yeah. 4-1.
Kyler Murray. I'm going to put at number 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Part of that is when you look at Vegas's odds of who they picking to win the division, they've got Arizona ranked dead last at plus 600 odds, not even close to the next, which would be plus 280 for the Seahawks. I just think that there's not a lot of pressure to win in Arizona right now, even with bringing J.J. Watt in. I just don't think that the pressure is there for him. I would put him ranked 4th.
Okay. Who's your number 3?
Number 3.
You got.
That's where it gets tricky. I mean, 3 through 1 is all really tricky. Russell Wilson, I'm going to put him and Jimmy G, I'm going to put them together.
So
those would be 3, both ranked 3rd. I think Stafford has the most amount of pressure. Let's put it that way, and that's the only one I'm really clear on. I think that he's immediately has pressure on him to win and to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, so you have Stafford 1, 2 is empty, I guess, and then Wilson and Garoppolo are tied.
Correct.
Okay.
And then I think Kyler has the least amount of pressure. I think he gets to go ball out, have fun. If they have success this year and make a little bit of noise and make a playoff run, I think that's great, but I don't think that anybody is demanding that from Kyler Murray right now.
Okay. You got it. What about you, Chirk?
Let's have Kramer go first.
Okay.
Passing the buck.
It's hard to go on the spot like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to piggyback off everything Brian said, honestly.
All right, so I have a different list, so I guess I'll go then.
Go for it.
All right.
Okay, 4, I have Russell Wilson. He's already been to the Super Bowl twice. He's won 1. He's an established quarterback. He's made his money. He doesn't got to worry about a new contract.
Agree with you 100%.
Okay, 3, I have Kyler Murray. Similar reasons that he does, but I think he's got more pressure because Russell Wilson has significantly less.
Okay.
2 is Jimmy G, because who knows whether or not he has his job 3 weeks into the season or if at the beginning of the season. So he's got pressure. 1 is Matthew Stafford. It's Super Bowl or bust for the Rams. They brought in Matthew Stafford for reasons because he's a much better quarterback than Jared Goff is. And I'm going to give you a bonus one. That's number 5. That's Trey Lance. He has no pressure no matter if he plays or not because he's a rookie.
All right.
Okay, that's fair.
Even though he was a top 5 pick.
Do you think Trey Lance could take that job sometime during the season without injury?
Without injury, I think he could take the job going into the season.
You think he might be a week 1 starter?
I think he has that ability because I don't think very highly of Jimmy.
Yeah, I share that opinion with you. I don't think very highly of Jimmy G myself, and I think Trey Lance is going to ball.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see him. But yeah, what you said about Stafford is true. I think it's Super Bowl or bust for the Rams.
Yeah.
The guy's got the talent. Of course, he had the years on Detroit where he could say, I didn't have the people around me. He's got the people around him now to win a Super Bowl. He's got no excuses. But I do expect him to go out there and sling it, and I do think that he will win the division, and I think they will make a Super Bowl run.
All right. What you got, Chirk?
I got so the least amount of pressure.
4-1.
4-1. Least amount the whole NFC, right?
NFC West.
Yes. NFC West.
Yes.
Least amount of pressure. I'll say Kyler Murray.
Okay.
Then at 3, I don't know. I'll put in NFC West. Trey Lance.
Okay. How about number 2?
Number 2.
So it'd be Russell Wilson or Matthew Stafford?
Then Stafford.
Russell Wilson 2, Matthew Stafford 1?
Okay.
Okay.
So mine, I agree with you about Russell Wilson at 4. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say Jimmy G at 3 because he just recently went to the Super Bowl. So I take that into consideration. Number 2, I'm going to say
Great defense.
Yeah. Number 2, I'm going to actually say Kyler.
Okay.
And then number 1, I agree with you, Stafford.
Okay, so why Kyler at 2 then? Because we've already heard about Stafford.
So Kyler, it's also partially because of Cliff Kingsbury.
Okay.
Because when he was at Texas Tech, he wasn't that great as a head coach. We all agree on that for the most part, correct?
I remember.
Sure. Good looking cat, though.
He's not a good coach in the NFL.
Exactly. So, and Kyler's had flashes of being good, but I haven't seen it consistently enough. Like, yeah, he had the Hail Murray, but I just haven't seen him put it together enough. So I want it, and he's got DeAndre Hopkins there now. He has AJ Green. He's got other solid receivers.
The corpse of AJ Green.
True, because whatever he had left was taken out of him by Andy Dalton in Cincinnati.
Why is it a lot of Arizona players get a lot of players from Cincinnati?
I don't know.
It's interesting.
Jermaine Gresham, remember him?
I don't think there's income tax in Arizona.
Oh, okay. That makes perfect sense.
So,
Chirk, you said you had Russell Wilson too, correct?
Yes.
What kind of pressure do you think is on Russ this year?
Russ, I just think, just like the fact there's like some contract disputes.
Looming.
Yeah, talking to the mic, jerk.
You got
contract disputes from earlier, and just like the relationship is souring with him in Seattle.
A graduate of the Ohio Media School.
Talking to the mic, jerk. All right, K-Man, come on.
I got nothing for you.
Yeah, nothing.
I'm right there with Fraley.
Why do you keep slamming the table?
Because I like slamming the table.
Does any Browns fan remember Hank Fraley?
I do.
Yes, I do remember Hank Fraley.
That's my dad.
Are you being for real?
Yeah.
Real?
Yeah, that's my dad. I never told you guys that.
Let me look.
I'm kidding. It's not my dad.
No. Are you related to him at all?
No, not in any way.
So, to a certain extent, I get what you're saying about Russell Wilson, because, there's... Oh, my Lord. Because there was that brief period of time where it sounded like he was going to get traded maybe, and he was saying, I want to go to these teams, and then he comes out later.
Is this one of the teams?
So are you saying that Russ put the pressure on himself a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, I can agree with that, because I was more along with what he was thinking about. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's done it.
Right.
He's a Pro Bowl, All-Pro quarterback.
Right.
He doesn't have much left to prove.
Right.
But based off of what you're saying, I like that angle. He has a lot to prove to himself.
Right. I don't dispute any of what you're saying about Russell Wilson, because that's all factual and all that. He should have 2 Super Bowl rings if Pete Carroll had said, hey, let's hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Or if Russell could have also scrambled. He could have scrambled.
There's a much longer and more detailed story that I could share with you about that off air, about why that worked. But we do have to talk Ohio State quarterbacks before we go to the next segment. We got 4 names that are possible. Is that correct?
Yeah, let me try to get you guys excited about the Ohio Buckeye football season here in the next 2 minutes. We have a battle going into this year, and it's kind of interesting because Alabama, Clemson, and OSU, for the first time, are all 3 going to have new starting quarterbacks this year. So it's going to be just a different kind of football. But here at Ohio State, we're looking at C.J. Stroud versus Jack Miller III versus Kyle McCord, and then you can also throw in the new guy, Quinn Ewers, I think that's pronounced.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, Ewers.
Who's the favorite?
So in theory, you have a 4-way, but the running favorite, C.J. Stroud, he seriously has competition in Jack Miller III, though. Got to see what the new guy can do in Ewers. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Do you know who's the stationary quarterback, stand in the pocket, and who's the mobile quarterback?
The only one I've seen play has been Stroud in Buckeyes. Last year. No, I really don't have anything for you on that.
I imagine it's going to be Stroud. The way I look at it is I'm just trying to imagine myself watching the game on Saturday and what's it sound most likely to be the guy that they're going to be saying during the broadcast. I can imagine them saying Stroud. That's my reasoning. It's ridiculous, but that's how I'm going.
I think it's the safe pick here, but personally, I think that Ewers has a chance to win the starting job because of the landscape of college football and the way that transfers are today. there's a lot of pressure when you bring in a #1 overall talent to start him right away as a freshman. And that's a discussion that I know that they had when they were recruiting Quinn Ewers, and it's going to be interesting to see because with a guy with the talent that Quinn has, with the ceiling as high as he has, he's not going to want to sit on the bench for very long. So I do think that Stroud is the likely front runner to win the job this year, but I can also see Quinn Ewers taking that job from Stroud a lot faster than a lot of Buckeye fans may anticipate.
So your point is totally valid about, he was a #1 recruit, so he's not going to want to sit on the bench. Do you think that Ohio State could use him like how New Orleans uses Taysom Hill?
Oh my God, please no.
I think that sort of gadget system, it just hasn't really historically brought anybody good.
That's a move you make when you're desperate.
Yeah, that's a desperation move.
That's a desperation move.
A couple more things to look into as we go into this season, though. Ryan Day has yet to lose a game in the Big Ten, and this last year made Ohio State the first team to win 4 straight conference championships, so I do think there's a lot of pressure on them as a team, but we do have to hit a break. What do we have on the other side?
On the other side of the break in hour number 2, we got combat sports and everyone's favorite segment, Random Cleveland Athlete of the Week. So stay tuned for hour 2 coming up in a few minutes.
7,000 high school students. Listening to allsportscleveland.com, your home for the best high school basketball in Northeast Ohio.
Not only are we the home of something that happened 4 years ago, we're also the home of all the best high school basketball in Northeast Ohio. Yes. Hey. Welcome back to So What's the Catch in All Sports Cleveland. This is hour 2, and I am just roasting the bumpers underneath.
Yeah, you have me listen to these bumpers now for the first time. Like, I don't understand how we've been doing this show so long, and I've ignored these. I'm catching everything like every time now.
Hey, this means there's going to be some more evolution to this show.
Yeah.
That's what that just said.
Oh, Jerk, I want to see you make new bumpers. I want to see what your mind puts into them.
Yes, we want
they're going to be interesting. They're going to be kind of maybe a little out there, maybe a little weird. Let's get weird.
I'll be like this. I'm Chirk Berserk. I'm putting in that work. I play better defense than Dirk.
How long have you been working on that?
Bars. Absolute bars.
Starting to come in my head now.
All right. So before Chirk gets
it's definitely hour 2, by the way.
Yeah, it's the weird hour.
Hey, listen, hour 2 always gets weird. I say this every episode. We're getting weird. We're starting off weird hour 2.
Welcome to the Bizarro Hour. So, before Chirk goes completely off the rails and goes way berserk, we're going to get into combat sports, and we're going to start with UFC 265. So, Ciryl Gane defeated Derek Lewis by 3rd round TKO. He is now the interim champ, and he's going to face Francis Ngannou. So, my question for you is this, Brian. Why was Stipe not in that fight?
I mean, it's a good question. I think that obviously Stipe has a say at the top of the heavyweight division in UFC right now. I think he might be holding out for that John Jones fight. I think that he really wants that fight. I think that the UFC really wants that fight. And I think that may have been part of the reason why we didn't see him in action, is because he's waiting for that matchup. And I think that the matchup that this creates between Gane and Ngannou, I think that the winner of that match sets up nicely for Stipe.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be chomping at the bit to get the winner of those two.
So I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it feels like this was a slap in the face to Stipe, because he said 2 things. One, he set the record for the most
heavyweight title defenses.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
With 3, and then number 2, when he beat Cormier in their second match at 241, guess what happened? Right away, Cormier gets the automatic rematch, and that sets up the trilogy.
Right.
That didn't happen with Ngannou, and they were after 260, Ngannou and Miocic are tied 1-1. So Miocic should have gotten the automatic rematch, right?
Yeah, logic would dictate that that's the way that it would work, but logic doesn't always win when it comes to these matchmaking things in the UFC.
Sometimes I don't understand why Dana White makes some of the decisions he does. Like, why would you trade Demetrius Johnson for Ben Askren?
In hindsight, that's an awful trade. I mean, Ben Askren had a lot of potential. He's an absolute stud wrestler, and they were really excited to get him over, but that obviously hasn't panned out well.
No.
But that's a discussion for another day.
Wait, what were you saying, Chirk?
No, I was about to say I think it was from the Paul fight why he did that, and I think Ben Askren would have been good in the UFC in 2008.
Yeah, okay.
So does that mean you're challenging Ben Askren to a fight?
I'll challenge Ben Askren. The Battle of the Tough Guys.
Okay.
It's like in that movie, No Holds Barred. If anyone's...
Well, if you could stay on your feet for longer than 12 seconds, then you already got a leg up on Askren. So.
Yeah.
I mean, just standing up, period, you have a leg up on Jose Canseco, so that's good news.
That's true.
Speaking of boxing, now, Errol Spence is out of his fight against Manny Pacquiao.
Huge disappointment here. I'm a big Errol Spence Jr. fan and a big Manny Pacquiao fan. I thought that it was an awesome matchup. I would have liked to have seen the matchup take place when Pacquiao was a little bit younger, but, you know, that's how things work out. Unfortunately, Spence has dropped out of the fight due to injury, so they have Ugas stepping in, who is a Cuban fighter, won a bronze medal in Beijing in 2008. He actually currently holds the welterweight title. So now this fight goes from being a matchup between Pacquiao and Spence to a matchup between Pacquiao and Ugas for a belt, which is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
So the way that it worked out, because Pacquiao lost the belt due to inactivity before, so now he's got a chance to get at least a belt back. So it does become an interesting fight for that reason, or that reason alone. But I mean, it's not the matchups that Spence would have been. Spence is just, I mean, he's a whole tier and a half above of where Ugas is in his career.
So before we move off of this, I mentioned this on the show a few weeks ago. This Ugas Pacquiao fight is going to be happening on the same day as WWE SummerSlam, and they're both scheduled to be in Vegas. They're not, obviously they won't be at the same venue, because SummerSlam is going to be at Allegiant Stadium, where the Raiders play, and I would imagine Pacquiao and Ugas is going to be at...
That's in Vegas. I know it's in
T-Mobile Arena, I would imagine, where the Golden Knights play. So I don't think they're going to conflict with each other, but I think it's interesting that WWE is going to be there on the same night as a major boxing event.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, I think that the WWE is probably going to have a lot better numbers than this Pacquiao fight's going to have. I think once Spence was dropped out, people lost a lot of interest in this fight, which I don't think is necessarily fair, because I do still think it's a good matchup.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that that's problematic for the numbers in terms of boxing. But you know, they haven't been making the best decisions in terms of television and boxing and scheduling and all of these things. So I'm just glad that the fights are happening in Vegas. And that they're actually letting people in now.
Yeah, although I've heard rumors that WWE might move SummerSlam back to the Thunderdome because Vegas is going back to the mask mandate. Or something like that, along those lines. And,
You said the Thunderdome?
Yeah, it was a thing WWE did where fans came in virtually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did it a couple times, actually. And then Vasily Lomachenko, he's in advanced talks for a lightweight fight at Madison Square Garden on December 11th to face Richard Comey.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to be the return of Vasily Lomachenko. I think that Richard Comey's going to quit in the corner like the previous 4 opponents that Lomachenko had before he ran into the beast that he did in Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, that I watched that fight when he faced Teofimo.
Yeah, Loma's got a lot to say. I think he's got a lot to say. I think he's uber excited to get back out there to prove himself.
Yeah.
And he'll be competing for a belt in no time. He's just got just way too much talent for them to keep away from another title fight for too long.
Yeah.
So I think that a fight at MSG is the perfect setup for him to make a return towards, making a regaining that lightweight title that he once held.
If I remember correctly, going into that match against Teofimo, Lomachenko was number 1 pound for pound.
Yeah, ESPN had him number 1 pound for pound. I think HBO and Showtime had different. I'm not sure what they had ranked, but I do know that for a fact ESPN did have him as the number 1 pound for pound fighter. He was also fighting on ESPN at the time, though, so it makes sense for ESPN. You know, a lot of times ESPN does what ESPN does for ESPN and for them only.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know how true that may or may not have been, but yeah, they were saying he was the number 1 pound for pound fighter before that fight.
I think Terrence Crawford was also in the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, Bud Crawford's just so good. It's just hard to argue against him being the number 1 guy right now. But I love Lomachenko. I think his ceiling is incredibly high, about as high as any fighter that I've seen in recent memory.
Yeah, from what I saw of Lomachenko, although he lost that fight against Lopez, Lomachenko didn't look bad in that fight.
No, he didn't get hurt. He wasn't hurt. He moved fine.
Yeah, he looked quick on his feet.
I think that he didn't game plan well for that.
Yeah.
And I do think he underestimated Teofimo Lopez and the advantages that his size was going to have against him.
And that, what type? I know that was for a title, but what weight class was it? Do you remember?
What weight class did they fight at? I think it was lightweight.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. But no, I know that Lomachenko has won belts in 4 different divisions now. So, you know, it's super weight, welterweight, super welterweight. There's just too many divisions now. It just seems for every pound they have a division now.
Yeah.
Should they go back to unlimited? This is UFC you're talking about?
No, boxing.
Never mind.
But UFC, this is why I like UFC better, because it's streamlined. We were talking about this off air before the show.
Yes.
With UFC, you know who the middleweight champion is. That's Israel Adesanya.
Right.
Or you know who the women's bantamweight champion is. The GOAT, Amanda Nunes.
Right.
Whereas, like, with boxing, the welterweight champion could be 4 different people, and you're like, what?
Yeah, I mean, you can hold 4 different belts for 1 division in boxing, which is kind of bizarre.
It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. I like the lineal nature that UFC has set up. That you know who the number 1 guy is. You know who's fighting for the title. And,
right.
And there's no question marks about who's better than who.
Right. And James, I know you've said in the past, like, Google is your friend, but it still gets confusing.
Oh, yeah. It does get confusing.
Google's always your friend. Okay?
Okay. So, random Cleveland athlete of the week.
All right, we can get this knocked out in a couple minutes.
Real quick. I need to know, though, one more fight. What about the Chirk and Jake Paul fight?
Yes.
When are we going to see this?
Well, Jake Paul's going to be fighting here in Cleveland against Tyron Woodley.
All right, make it happen. Make it happen.
So just go, like, stalk him in the parking lot and see what happens.
I feel like
this is the battle of the tough guys I was talking about.
Okay.
If anyone's seen No Holds Barred, you know what I'm talking about.
Anyway, sorry, James.
All right, all right.
Can I make one quick thing?
Go ahead.
The week of that fight, we need to do predictions about who's going to win that fight and whether Chirk is going to fight the winner.
It's an interesting matchup. I think that we should do that too. I think closer to the fight, we should definitely all make our picks.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
And I wish we could do like a remote broadcast from the field house.
It is at Romo Fijo, so you know, if one of us could even make it down there, that would be awesome. I'd love to make it there for that fight, but I don't know what tickets are going for at the time. I'd imagine hundreds of dollars.
As much as I would want to see that fight in person, I'd much rather see the UFC come back here, because I was at UFC 203.
You get so much more out of being at a UFC event than you do at a boxing match, that's for sure.
It was hilarious with UFC. With UFC 203, it was Stipe's first title defense against Alistair Overeem. Even before any of the fights had started, you were hearing in the crowd, "Here we go, brownies, here we go." It was hilarious.
Yeah, Jake Paul's an Ohio guy, so going back to our Cleveland athlete of the week, it's not Jake Paul.
No,
that's a hint.
Paul, but we got to take a break real quick, and we'll come back with random Cleveland athlete of the week in this next segment. So, Chirk, let's go to commercial.
Packers,
Vikings,
Red State,
Blue State.
everyone's favorite season, autumn, from Triple Threat, and you're listening to allsportscleveland.com, the home of the NEO Christmas Classic.
All right, we're still homes of other things. Apparently, Christmas time is in that bumper. So this is fantastic.
It's only like, what, 5 months away?
Yeah. I just,
Christmas season, baby.
Hey, any chance I get to chirp you about these bumpers, I'm taking it, Chirk. So choose them wisely. So with that said,
good morning, I guess.
All right, so with that, random Cleveland Athlete of the Week, and good news for some people here, it's baseball player.
Okay.
All right, so our subject here was born September 28th, 1987.
Virgo. Fun fact.
Yes. He was drafted by the Los Angeles Dodgers in the 25th round of the 2008 MLB draft.
2008.
Out of Catawba College.
2008. 25th round.
So you guys have all that, right? Maybe some more information will help you.
High school, maybe?
So.
Catawba.
Catawba, Mexico.
He was born in Middletown, New York. He went to Smithfield Selma High School in Smithfield, North Carolina. He was an outfielder and first baseman.
Outfielder. Andre Ethier?
Did Andre Ethier ever play for the Cleveland Indians?
Oh, no. So this isn't someone who's from Cleveland. It's just someone for.
So
are you talking about
Cleveland team?
Okay.
Travis Fryman?
We are not talking about Travis.
Richie Sexton.
Not Richie Sexton. I will give you some more
Travis
information.
Hafner.
Not Travis Hafner.
I believe Travis Hafner actually was the manager for the Notre Dame college baseball team at one point. Shout out to my Falcons.
We've had a lot of third baseman platoon in the outfield too, so that's not that good of a hint.
So he played only 156 career games. 50 of those were with Cleveland in 2015.
2015?
2015. So he played a third of his career in 2015 with the Indians.
And then we traded.
That's the second most amount of games he played with one team in one season. The most being the Dodgers in 2011. It was 61.
Okay, 2011.
Who was that third base?
Who was that? Was that? No, it wasn't.
Dodgers?
He appeared in right field, first base, left field, DH. And that is it. He played one game at DH, 7 in left field, 11 in first base, 32 in right field.
Shin-Soo Choo?
Yeah, I was
not Shin-Soo Choo. He played more than 50 games.
Yeah, he's played a lot more than 50 games.
True.
I was just gonna guess.
I'm just reaching
That's
for
my
anything
girlfriend's
right now.
favorite name of any sports player ever.
2015.
Cocoa Crisp.
Yeah, she calls him I Can Chew.
2015, played for the Indians at third base.
He did not play at third base. He played at first base.
Oh,
Giambi?
No,
Not
Giambi. No,
He only played 50 games.
Giambi was with us in 2013.
Yeah, I know.
So 50 of his 156 games in his career were played in Cleveland.
So he only played like a full season total.
Not even.
Right.
Yeah, not even.
This is really obscure. Isn't it?
I tried to make him obscure because that's
that's the point of the game.
To see how well you remember.
Andy Marte?
It is not the now deceased Andy Marte. No.
No, it's not.
Is it Grant Wistrom?
No.
Not Casey Blake, because we traded him in
That was way long ago. Yeah.
In like 2008 or something.
I don't know if James knew who that was.
What? Who was that?
Could we get some more hints, sir?
He finished his career playing for the Chicago White Sox the following year, 24 games for them. And during his time in Cleveland, he slashed 236, 286, 390. He walked 9 times, drove in 19 runs with 4 homers, a triple, and 5 doubles.
Played for the White Sox. Not Canerco.
So Dodgers did not play in 2013 in majors. Tampa Bay Rays in 2014 in 12 games. 2015 for the Indians. 2016 for the White Sox.
Piazza?
No, it's not Piazza.
You're going way back.
No, Piazza.
So, this cult hero, fan favorite for a short period of time, whenever he did something awesome, you could hear the fans in the stands chanting, Jerry
Hairston Jr.
No.
Jerry. What?
Jerry Porter.
I gave you his first name.
Jerry.
Wow,
Jerry.
This is obscure.
Okay, it's not Jerry Hairston. Who else?
I'll give you guys one more minute. Think of the 20.
I remember the Jerry chant.
You remember the Jerry chant?
I remember the Jerry chant because I remember getting rowdy for that. That was funny.
Jerry.
But I cannot remember the guy's name for the life of me.
I
can remember being in the stands and doing the Jerry chant. That's gonna drive me nuts.
All right, so that'll do it. But the answer is Jerry Sands.
Jerry Sands.
Oh my Lord.
Jerry Sands.
I was so frustrated because I knew that was the year that I had snuck the radio into the hole in prison, and I listened. I listened to the whole season because I was in the hole for like 4 months straight, and we won't talk about why. But I was in like a 4-month straight stint, and I had this radio, and I remember Jerry Sands now. But man, that
was a tough one. Touche.
Touche.
Your hints did get progressively better too.
Yeah.
For sure.
You start off obscure.
Yeah, you gotta.
All
I
right.
like that segment a lot. That's
So
fun.
nobody gets that. We should have made a standings board for this segment. Darn it. Anyway, so we're gonna get into some general football discussion.
General football.
Yep. Yes.
GFD.
A salute to you. That's my whole thing with YouTube. Follow Unger subscribe to Unger to the Max today.
This is not the time for plugs.
All right, let's all do it right now.
Shameless self-promoter, you.
Yeah, let's do them all.
He does it on our show.
This is that show. This is our show.
Yeah. That was, and what was that? Like, you just tattle on me. He does it.
Hey, nobody likes a rat. He knows better here than anyone here.
Yeah.
Okay?
No one likes us.
All right. So we started off on a bit of a somber note as the great Florida State head coach Bobby Bowden passed away at the age of 91 on Sunday from pancreatic cancer. So may he rest in peace.
The Georgia coach?
Florida State.
Or Florida State?
Yep.
You gotta remember all those Bowden Bowls back in the days where he pretty much just beat up his kids.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think he went like 5-4 and 9 Bowden Bowls. But,
Yeah.
So, shout out Bobby Bowden for beating his children as a coach in football.
So may he
Relentless.
rest in peace.
Yeah, R.I.P. Bobby Bowden. That's a big loss for Florida State.
Yeah. So the NFL is cracking down on taunting. 1 penalty equals 15 yards. What was that?
I'm sorry. I
don't
hate
think he's a
this
fan.
rule. I hate this so much. Go on, finish. I'll let you
2
finish.
penalties equals an ejection and a possible fines.
Oh, it's slowly coming back.
No Fun League. I mean, they call it the No Fun League for a reason.
I got
a scenario for you. Are you ready?
Let's hear it.
Hollywood Higgins?
No.
What?
That's not a scenario. That's a name.
That's a name of a person.
They get a fine for that.
What? What are you doing?
When they were doing the camera thing when they won.
Okay, you were trying to do the camera, but you're doing the Zeke Elliott eating cereal thing.
Yeah, that looked more like Zeke Elliott.
Okay, so the Colts, Carson Wentz is out. They might be going with Sam Ehlinger. Let's say someone sacks Sam Ehlinger, they give him a horns down.
Yeah, that.
Ooh, okay.
They're gonna get a penalty for that.
That is a taunting penalty according to the new rule. So.
Yeah.
I just don't understand is they finally loosened up on the touchdown dances and everything, and it's like everybody in the world wants more lenience on players being authentically themselves. Like we want players to express themselves, and I mean these guys wear helmets. We don't know what they look like. If we walk by them on the street, we might not recognize some of our favorite players.
Right.
So letting these guys do these things that they do on the field helps their brand, and it helps us as fans to identify them. And
it helps their personality, too.
Yeah, it's just more fun, and this is just the NFL saying we're having less fun. Let's have less fun.
Just Roger Goodell being Roger Goodell.
And so how many times will the Browns be victims to this season? Over under 3.5?
God,
do you think it'll happen because of the Hollywood Higgins Hollywood?
I mean, between OBJ and Landry, neither one of them can catch a first down pass without doing the whole first down.
So I don't think
taunt.
So I think if it's directed at someone is what they're defining taunting as. But I can think of one person and one person only. That's if he makes the roster. Mr. Tweets to tackle ratio himself, Mac Wilson. He's got taunting penalty written all over him.
Yes, he does.
He does.
You know, this new rule might be, if you take that into consideration, that could be a reason now to get rid of him.
I mean, a reason to get rid of him is that,
he's Mac Wilson.
He's Mac Wilson.
This new rule. Should we bring back Dwayne Rudd?
Oh, God.
Goodness gracious.
Anyone remember
That's
that?
a bad memory when he took his helmet off. And,
Yes, I remember that. Chirk, do you remember that? That's the real question. Are you old enough to remember that game?
They were against the Chiefs. They could have won the game. They were probably going to be 10-6 that season, but
yeah,
What
that
were
was
you, like, 6?
huge disappointment.
What year was that?
2002.
like 2001 or 2. I'm not sure.
2002.
I would have been like 3 or 4.
I was 15 or 14. How old were you?
I was like 6.
Yeah, okay. So I remember it. Do you remember it?
I don't.
You remember it. It was on TV.
But you were 6.
But going back to what you were talking about, Brian, with the whole like we want to enjoy them as fans and all, and getting to know their personalities. Do you remember the game? It was a Sunday night game. Buccaneers Cowboys. Zeke gets the touchdown and he jumps into the Salvation Army
That was
bucket.
All-time great celebration,
That was,
in my opinion.
That was one of the funniest celebrations I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so much fun when you see these things, and it's like,
yeah.
And the taunting, I mean, I understand that they don't want guys to be disrespectful and what have you, and they want to be a good example for young football players, but these things, like, you got to let guys, I mean, we want them to be excited to play. At the end of the day, like, sometimes we think of them and it's like, oh, well, they're making millions of dollars, you know, I don't feel bad for them at all.
Yeah, we don't want to think that way.
You know, I don't want to think that way as a fan. As a fan, I want to believe that everybody wants to be out on that field having fun. Yeah. And for the guys that do taunt a lot of those guys are the ones that, I mean, they're the football guy. They're the loudest person in the locker room. You know, they're good leaders. It's just, I don't know. It just seems counterproductive to me. It feels like a step backwards rather than a step forward for the NFL.
And this isn't the 1960s anymore, right? Like,
right.
As I said earlier, sports mirror the society, and we've like kind of gotten to the point where, yeah, taunting and just kind of having like a big ego and being a big personality is more acceptable.
I feel like this is kind of an indirect shot at Juju, because remember before pregame, like he would dance on the.
But that's not during the game, though. So
yeah.
The way I see it is that this is old white guys in charge, remembering nostalgia of Barry Sanders scoring a touchdown
and handing the ball to the ref. That's what they want everybody to do.
That's all this is. This is back in my day, Barry Sanders would score a touchdown, hand the ball to the ref,
and hey,
bench.
There's nothing wrong with that either. Like, you want to see guys like that too, but there's got to be a place for both of them.
Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly, and I think that was great. I really loved that about Barry.
All right, Shirk, take us out to commercial here. Well, what do you got before commercial, though?
Yes. So before commercial, I was thinking that how they have the new celebration rule. I think might as well just make the celebrations just like Blitz the League, the video game. If anyone's seen that, I prefer that.
Didn't they like?
I don't know what the celebrations were like on that obscure
Weren't they like
video game.
incredibly like ridiculous?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they had the
those aren't
people's
going to
album.
happen.
Great video game reference.
Yeah.
It's the League 2.
If you look for video game references from 15 years ago, Chirk Berserk is your man.
And speaking of video games, real quick, Madden should stop concentrating on celebrations. Make a good game, but celebrations in the league, keep them going.
Have you guys played that new game, Streets of Rage?
No,
but we have to head to commercial. Chirk Berserk, take us to commercial. We come back with some baseball talk.
What are you gonna do with your
Streets of Rage is a 30-year-old video game.
You could junk it.
Of the land. AllSportsCleveland.com. Valley View, Cleveland.
I didn't know about that.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
Hey, we are back on the air.
Some off the air chat that got pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was a little bit of tea just being spilled.
Oh man. Yikes.
Anywho.
Anyways, we'll talk about that off air again, but We're coming back here. I don't know what out-of-date commercial you played to bring us in this time, but
I'm sure it was.
Shame on you. I don't know.
Shame.
Here's the shame symbol.
What's wrong with me DJing here?
There's nothing wrong with you DJing, but you're playing stuff from 4 years ago, man.
It's not his fault. That's what's on the system.
What's on the system?
Well, go down the hall, record all new bumpers, get back here. Come on, man.
Next week, I want chirk bumpers.
I want at least one chirk bumper next week. Yes.
We're all in this together, right?
Yeah, I will make a bumper. If you make a bumper, I will make a bumper.
Hey, we'll all make a bumper. I just expect yours to be out there and weird. Deal?
I will try my best to make
it. Chirk?
That's the deal.
Yes.
All right. And I will make the intro.
All right. Sounds good. All right. But let's start this off. Baseball talk. Fun game on Thursday. I'm glad the Indians game's at 1 because I can focus all of my time watching this. 7:15 on Fox. Field of Dreams game. New York Yankees, Chicago White Sox. They're even wearing old-time uniforms. I am excited.
I am so excited for this game.
Magic. Pure magic.
Do you think that this will become an annual thing, or is this just a one-off?
It should become an annual thing.
Hey,
this is cool.
Sorry to break up the love fest, but I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
I don't know. I think it's cheesy. It was a great movie. I feel like it's a cash grab. I don't know. I don't like it.
To me, I understand what you're saying, but there's 162 of these things.
Yeah.
You know, you got to make one of them interesting. To me, anything that adds a little bit of pizzazz to a regular season game is a good thing.
But jumping right to a movie, like they haven't even. You could take baseball overseas still. You could start having games like that.
Sure.
There's other promotions I just think you would go to before you go to a movie.
You do know how nostalgic that movie is, right?
I just said it's a great movie.
The thing I say is that what you're going to get is you're going to get people that really even care about baseball to watch this baseball game because of that movie. That's the thing.
So if you're going to
drawing in that audience, so it's going to be a baseball game, but they're be like, oh, I like that movie, and you're going to get people that maybe aren't necessarily hardcore fans be like, oh, they're playing at the Field of Dreams Stadium. That's awesome. I'm going to watch that game.
Well, they're not playing exactly at Field of Dreams. They're
right next to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I have a basketball game there?
If they can get
Stop bringing up basketball.
It's a great movie.
If they can get that, then the Indians should have been able to have Charlie Sheen throwing out the fastball game 1 for the World Series. I'm just saying, like, if we're going to go for one movie.
To play devil's advocate here, though, because I know that there are other opinions on this. I love it personally.
I love it too.
But The Field of Dreams, it's an older movie. Baseball, one of the biggest problems with baseball is getting a younger audience to tune in and tune in more attentively. Mm-hmm. So in terms of what Jeremy was saying, there are a lot of alternatives that maybe would have been more topical, that may have been more relevant to today's society. I love it because I'm 31 years old. I loved the movie and everything feels good about it to me.
Right.
But I can see where people would be like, Field of Dreams, it's an old movie, who cares, blah. I get it. I get that.
So
I'm with you. And you just brought up a good point, which is a perfect segue, honestly. And it's getting that younger audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a report that came out that Major League Baseball is possibly talking about partnering with Barstool Sports for some future broadcasts. That'd be like 5 middle-of-the-week broadcasts, so not even like primetime games.
Mm-hmm.
There's been lots of pushback, and I understand because Barstool is problematic. They've done things that are not good and things that I don't agree with, but you know what? If there's one thing that they are good at doing, it is getting that youth audience that baseball has tried and failed repeatedly to capture. If there's an outlet that can drive a younger audience to baseball, if Barstool can't do it, nobody can.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, I'm with you, but the thing, I mean, MLB is even trying to do like live games on YouTube, and that doesn't.
That's a mistake. First of all, the streaming YouTube only, Facebook only games are terrible.
Yeah,
I agree.
They're the absolute worst.
Not well produced at all.
No, every single time that the Indians have been on, I'm like, well, I guess now I'm watching the game today because the stream always cuts out.
Right.
Yeah,
but Jeremy, you're going to say something.
Go ahead.
I was just thinking, I've missed so much, and I've brought this up a lot. I don't know a lot about Barstool Sports, so for people like me, the casual listener, what are the issues with Barstool Sports? This is obviously like a bigger...
Yeah.
It's a bigger independent news outlet. It is owned by Penn National Gaming, which is a gambling corporation. So there's already some issues with that. But there's been lots of problematic things they've said, whether that's misogynistic comments or even racial things that have been said. and we'll leave it at that. You can do your own research to find out the specifics if you would like. But
a lot of it's political. You know, a lot of it is political because. The face of Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy, he makes appearances regularly on Fox News. He interviewed President Trump. He's made some of his politics clear. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, in the world we live in today, if you alienate half of the public the second that you take a side in a political issue.
So why does anybody need to do that?
Yeah.
It's because he can. That's why
he can.
So the way I've looked at Dave Portnoy and Barstool Sports and everything is that every step of the way that they've tried to progress their company and their outlet and their platform, people have been trying to say they're terrible because of this, or they suck because of this, and they're not going to succeed. And
they keep succeeding.
They keep succeeding.
Yeah,
they keep growing. They keep
pushing forward.
You say they can't do something, they say, "Watch me." That's essentially what happens.
Right.
So if them getting into Major League Baseball broadcasts is their next step, and apparently they're obviously interested in it. They're not going to stop.
I don't see a better alternative. I don't see a better alternative to get younger people watching. And in terms of content today and how the younger generation consumes content, it's not through cable television. It's online, and that's one place that Barstool has. They're an online empire.
Right.
They're on YouTube. They're on Facebook, Twitter.
That's why they have a major advantage on it.
Exactly. So they already have the infrastructure in place to reach young people. Now it's just teaming up with MLB and how do they spin it to keep, to make it grow. But I think it's a great decision by MLB.
So going back to the whole bringing baseball to the younger audience, Trevor Bauer and all that, he was saying earlier, I think it was Trevor Bauer, if I remember correctly, was saying, we need the taunting and all that. Wasn't it Trevor Bauer saying that?
Yeah, he made some comments about that, yeah.
Should we be listening to anything Trevor Bauer says?
That's also a fair question, but go on.
Depends on what it is.
But no, the reason I'm bringing this up is because they were playing the Padres, I should say. Mm-hmm. So I asked you this question a few weeks ago on the show, and you said, I asked you, is Red Sox-Yankees the best rivalry in baseball right now? And you said, no, Dodgers-Padres is. Do you still feel that same way?
No, because I think that the Dodgers are still part of the best rivalry, but it's currently with the Giants because the Giants still sit atop the NL West. Mm-hmm. It's Dodgers and whoever else in the NL West. That's not Yankees-Red Sox. The Yankees stink. I'm sorry. They're not a good enough team. The Red Sox are on a little bit of a slump, and the Yankees seem to be taking advantage of that currently, but no one's scared of the Yankees come playoff time.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Really?
They're 11 games over 500 right now, and they were at the bottom of the barrel. They've put together a couple good months of baseball, and they do have the pieces. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not saying that I think they're going to come back and win the division because I don't, but I do think that as a wild card team, they're still the Yankees, man. I still think that they can win a wild card game and potentially make it to a division or a championship series.
I think they can win a wild card game, sure, but I don't think they're going to make a deep playoff run. I don't think they have enough starting pitching.
That's fair.
I think Gleyber Torres is not a starting caliber player.
No, my only gripe was that you said they were awful, and as a team above 11 games above 500 that may make the playoffs.
I contend their record's an illusion.
Yeah.
They're like the White Sox, who have a very good record because they play against a bad division.
That's
because
fair.
They just got beaten on the Orioles. They got to beat up on the Rays from time to time, but it's.
Yeah.
I think their record's an illusion for the most part.
What's that say about our Indians then, who are an even 500 in the AL Central? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they stink.
When you said the Yankees stink, I thought they're better than the Indians.
They are better than the Indians.
That's what made me kind of come to their defense.
Yeah.
I mean, when's Aaron Judge going to get hurt again?
They need pitching.
At one point, Greg Allen was a regular starting outfielder for the Yankees.
Right.
Funniest thing in the world is Yankees Twitter being like, "Where's Greg Allen? I can't believe they sent him down AAA." Like, you don't know what you're in store for with Greg Allen when you play.
Yeah, you don't know. But the thing it's like they still think they can get number 28. No, you can't.
Well, they can, just not this year.
Yeah, not this year, but they can.
Their best chance to get number 28 was when they played the Astros in 2017 as a result of cheating. They didn't. Because they could have won. if it wasn't for the Astros cheating, they would have won games 1 or 2 in Houston, and that series would have been over, and we would have gotten Yankees-Dodgers in the World Series.
And Dodgers would have won.
Not so sure about that.
Dodgers would have won. Dodgers were a better team than the Yankees. Dodgers were probably a better team than the Astros. That World Series, let's be honest here.
Yeah, I think they were.
Yeah, so...
But my only pushback with that is, if the Dodgers, yes, the Astros cheating, swung the World Series in the Houston's favor. Not denying that at all. I 100% agree with that. However, the Astros were able to go into LA and they won games 2 and game 7.
Mm-hmm.
So they were able to win 2 games on the road in that series.
Right. And the Yankees just added Gallo and Rizzo too. They added 2 great pieces that are gonna.
I think they're good fits for the team.
Yeah.
Rizzo's a different type of bat. I just don't trust half of that roster to be even a presence or reliable.
Now we're on the same page.
I just don't get what the Red Sox did by just trading for Kyle Schwarber and saying
they have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, they don't.
They got lucky too because he got hot as soon as he got there.
So
it made them look good for about a week.
He hasn't played for the Red Sox yet.
He got hurt for the Nationals and they traded an injured player.
Oh, was it right before the trade that he got hot then? Because he had
it was before the All-Star break that he was
he had
the hottest July of all time.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Hurt.
He had a really good. Okay. I had it backwards.
Yeah.
I thought he had that good month after he got there.
No, he had another minor setback, so he hasn't even been able to get on the field for Boston.
And even when he can, they're going to have 2 DHs to figure out between Schwarber and JD Martinez, so I don't know what they're doing because they're both abysmal as defenders.
And I
can't play either guy.
Who's their current first baseman?
Bobby Delbeck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
they're not going to put him at first base. Schwarber has limited experience at first base.
Yeah.
But we need to hit a break real quick. Then we got our final segment, which is just kind of a miscellaneous hodgepodge of stuff. And I think Kramer's got a quiz for us, don't you?
Yo.
Yes.
Quiz time in segment 8, final segment of the show.
Yes.
High school football lives here on allsportscleveland.com. Talk of the land, Valley View, Cleveland.
So, Chirk, are you going to be taking care of all those high school football broadcasts, or?
Surprising enough, I was offered an opportunity.
Oh, nice job.
Work.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
Yeah.
So
fun.
So we have a fun way to introduce this miscellaneous section. It's a hockey night in Pittsburgh. It's time for Pittsburgh Penguins hockey.
All right, here we go, Pittsburgh. So somber news in Penguins community here. Mike Lange, legendary broadcaster for the Pittsburgh Penguins, spent 46 years in the booth, has passed away.
No, he didn't pass away. He's just retiring.
He's retiring.
Yes, he's not dead.
Correction. Mike Lange, long shall he live. Elvis has left the building, but he is still living. Is an important thing to note there. I don't even know why I said that. I knew he was retiring. I don't know why I said he passed away.
Oh my Lord.
It is the second hour, folks.
Oh, you lordy Lord. He has had some legendary calls, though.
He has. He's very unique. From Slap Me Silly Sydney to Make Me a Milkshake Malkin to Let's Go Hunt Moose on a Harley to... I mean, he's just said some Shave My Face with a Rusty Razor. Just all kinds of stuff.
And then I believe this was at the end of the 2009 Stanley Cup when they defeated the Red Wings. And Lord Stanley, scratch their names on your fabled cup.
That's it. That's in his, I'm sure in his memoir when he does finally pass away. That'll be one of the highlighted quotes in it.
We are so sorry for...
I apologize to the Lange family. I hope I didn't scare anybody.
Premature obituary here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to admit this, even though the Blue Jackets have been my team for a while, because I'm from Cleveland and Columbus is the closest NHL city, I've always had a place for the Penguins. There's just something about them that I've always loved. So
there's a great culture in Pittsburgh. It's a good hockey team.
What?
Great culture in Pittsburgh?
Yeah?
There is. In terms of sports, man, they really do have a good culture there. They all wear the same colors. They're all on the same page.
Yeah.
They all root for each other. There's a lot of good things to be said about Pittsburgh, but the Steelers suck. So.
And the Pirates are cheap.
Yeah, I'm not here to be a fan of the city of Pittsburgh, but I am a huge diehard Penguins fan, so I will say that. But it has nothing to do with them being in the city of Pittsburgh, and everything to do with the fact that I didn't have a hockey team to go see nearby.
Yeah.
So my first professional game, my uncle took me to a Penguins game. Been in love ever since.
My first NHL game was actually a Blue Jackets game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, but the reason I became such a diehard hockey fan in general, I went to a couple of playoff games from the Monsters run to the Calder Cup in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Including Game 4 in the Calder Cup Finals against the Hershey Bears, affiliate of the Washington Capitals, who are one of the teams I strongly dislike. Sorry, but 2018 has a lot to do with that.
I'm with you there.
But Oliver Bjorkstrand puts the puck in the back of the net with 1.9 seconds remaining in overtime, and we won 1-0. And the Monsters brought home the second championship to the city of Cleveland in 2016.
Minor league hockey titles. Let's go.
Go Monsters.
Yep.
All right.
Wait, they're not the Monsters anymore, are they?
They're still the Monsters.
They're the Cleveland Monsters.
Yeah, they're the Cleveland Monsters.
So, real quick note before we head to Kramer's quiz: Barcelona legend Leo Messi now playing for PSG in France. That would be really cool. There's this league of all these big teams in Europe. Maybe they call it the Super League.
It's called. They have it. It's called the Champions League.
All right.
Earn your way. Earn your way there. Earn your way there.
All right. PSG probably going to win the Champions League. I'd like to see that happen. Rooting for you. Anyways, Kramer, quiz time.
Yes, we do this quiz usually just about every week, and James has been running away with it. So hopefully, Fraley being here will make some changes here.
I'm gonna give it my best shot.
Starting off, what was Wilt Chamberlain's record for the most points in a single game? 100 points. Not off to a good start. Who was the first ever NBA player to score 2,000 points in a single season?
Ooh, Abdul-Jabbar?
No.
Wilt? Would you double Wilt? You wouldn't double Wilt.
I did not double Wilt.
Thank
Michael
you for
Jordan.
What was that?
Michael Jordan.
No.
Kobe?
No.
Let's
Can you use
see.
the decade? Does it have a decade?
I'll just say it's way before than what you're thinking.
George McCann.
You got the first name right.
George Gervin.
Merson.
No. And
George Karl?
no.
George Gervin?
No.
Paul George.
George Yardley.
George Yardley.
Never would have got that.
Yeah.
Never in a million
Did
years.
anybody hear what
I heard he said Paul George. Obviously not right.
We're just going to
Why
go
are
off.
you hating?
Never trust a man with two first names.
Yep. Chris Paul, then.
Man, you guys could
I don't
get
trust
invited to the player haters ball.
We are not. Chirk, here's how the saying goes: don't hate the player, hate the game.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Not Triple H.
Kyrie Irving was born in what country?
Australia.
Ooh,
Australia.
Chirk's on the
Chirk
board.
with a nice grab.
Nice one, Chirk.
The Nate the Great. He's known for holding the record for the first ever quadruple double. What was his name?
Nate Thurmond.
Nate Thurmond.
There you go. Good one,
Nate
Josh. That was a good pull.
We're having a bit of a competitive game here for once.
Too bad AG is missing out.
Who scored the most points in a single game in the 2000 season? Basketball.
Jerry
Basketball. 2000 season.
I can't even hear Jay.
Kobe Bryant.
No.
Tracy McGrady.
No.
2000 season.
Most points in a single game in the 2000.
Oh, in a single
Carter.
game, so high game.
Jerry Stackhouse.
Allen Iverson.
No.
Shaq.
Yes.
Okay, 2000 Shaq.
2000 Shaq.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
Who was the first player to ever miss 5,000 free throws in his entire career?
LeBron James.
No.
Tim Duncan.
No.
Chuck Hayes.
No.
To miss
What? Come on.
5,000.
Chuck Hayes got the whole worst free throw form.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
You got to get to the line a lot to make that many misses too. So
Shaq.
No.
Sean Marion.
No.
Sean Bradley.
No.
Dwight Howard.
Wilt Chamberlain.
Ah.
It is Wilt.
You did double wilt us.
I did double wilt us.
You said you wouldn't double wilt.
I didn't back-to-back wilt us.
As long as you don't triple wilt a double wilt,
I might
we're
triple
fine.
wilt the double wilt. Which NBA player was given the nickname Dr. Duncanstein? Dr. Duncanstein.
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 Yeah, good old Dr. Duncanstein.
Why does that sound like
Julius Erving.
Why does that sound like a Jewish
I was gonna
name?
say, is he Jewish?
No.
Duncanstein.
No, and no.
Is he-
no.
So not Jewish.
Not Jewish, and what was your answer?
Brent Berry.
No. No.
Duncanstein.
Dr. Oh, was it the who was the cat that did that flip over his Rex
Jason
Chapman?
It was, I'm going to give 5 seconds.
Isaiah Ryder.
Not
Last
Rex
guess
Chapman.
is-
Isaiah Ryder.
No. Daryl Griffith.
Daryl Griffith? Never heard of him.
I think that was my thought, too.
Yeah.
Who?
What team bagged their third Super Bowl in the year 1990?
49ers.
No.
Giants.
No.
No, it was Dallas.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Cowboys.
We are looking at James 3, Josh 2, Chirk 1, Fraley still sitting on a donut.
Dang.
All NFL teams have their logo on their helmets, but one team only has the logo on one side.
Steelers.
Yep, the hated Steelers. That brings Josh into a tie. This player caused a sensation. I'm not even doing that. This player holds the best rookie passer rating in the entire history of the NFL.
Ever.
Baker.
No.
Oh, he set that record recently.
Wait.
Justin Herbert.
No.
You said rating, QBR?
Holds the best rookie passer rating in the entire history of the NFL.
Is it Kaepernick?
No.
Who had a good rookie year?
Teddy Bridgewater.
It is not Teddy Bridgewater.
No, that's a good guess.
Stafford?
Not Stafford. This is somebody we talked about today. Briefly, but we did.
Josh Allen.
What was your guess?
Derek Carr.
No.
David Carr.
No.
We didn't.
David Carr.
Lamar Jackson.
No.
No, Lamar Jackson's never been that great of a
Mahomes.
passer.
No.
Oh, wait, he didn't play as a rookie. That's right.
I'm surprised.
Michael Vick.
No. We talked about. You said we talked about him today.
Somebody that was mentioned briefly in the first hour.
Oh, so not Big Ben.
Jared Goff.
No.
I was gonna say he was
Russell
Jimmy G. No, not Jimmy G.
Russell Wilson.
Carson Wentz.
No. In the year 2000, the player with the best rookie passer rating was Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
in the year 2000.
He didn't.
What? He's from 2000. He got drafted.
He didn't.
I'm
get-
sorry, not, I don't even know where I got 2000 from.
2016.
This player holds the best rookie pass. Yeah, best rookie passer rating in the
Dak.
entire history of the NFL.
Dak.
Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
I'll take that point.
I will give it to
I repeated it before anyone
I'll
else,
give it
so
to
I
you.
think that counts.
All right, we'll give you the mercy point.
Yeah, I'll take them any way I can get them.
I'm joking.
What team won the first ever night football game?
Browns.
No.
The Steagles.
Bengals.
Packers.
The Steagles.
It is a team that no longer exists.
Baltimore Colts.
No.
Houston Oilers.
No.
The Cleveland Rams.
No.
Card pit, which is a combination of the Cardinals and Steelers.
I don't think we're going to get this one. It is the Philadelphia Athletics.
Philadelphia Athletics.
I've never even heard of that.
Dang.
I'm more familiar
Did they
with the
move from
baseball version.
Oakland? Or move to Oakland from Philly?
Yeah, and they changed sports.
Yep.
They said we're moving to Oakland and we're going to play a different sport now.
Got two more questions to wrap this up.
Okay.
In 1982, how many games made up the NFL regular season?
14.
14.
No.
12.
No.
13.
10.
No.
9.
Yes.
Oh, it was
Strike year.
strike year.
Yeah, strike
The
year.
Good
movie
one,
The
Shirk.
Replacements with Keanu Reeves.
Trick's in there on his phone.
We got
He's
Fraley
Googling.
with 1, Shirk 2, James
live.
3,
I'm on live.
Josh
messing with you.
3. We might need a tiebreaker, but we'll see. So on a last question, maybe, this team scored the most points in a single Super Bowl.
49ers.
Eagles.
James, I hate to give it to him. James got the win once again.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, the king of trivia still lives on.
Wait, what team did you say?
49ers.
I will say
What
this:
Super
those were
Bowl?
really challenging questions.
What Super
Good
Bowl
job.
was that?
It's one of the ones where they blasted the Broncos.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I went to the Eagles because of 41-33.
So we
They scored
tried.
like 50-something in one.
Yeah.
We tried once again to stump James, and it did not work.
Hey, listen, king of trivia, still here.
We will try again next week. I will be.
So you have a couple. Do you have any real or rumor?
We don't got time for that, but you know what we have time for? It's Chirk's Berserker of the Week time.
All right, look, guys, it's time. Let's do the drum roll.
And then we got pet peeve.
Drum roll.
The Berserker of the Week is to. I'm giving this for different reasons on top of it. It
Okay.
is Jared Allen for finessing the Cavs.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
It's
You're
for
right.
Jared
Okay.
Allen finessing the
That's a good
Cavs. I don't like the contract at all, but I gotta respect the finesse.
Okay.
I'm with you.
So we've had this segment on the show for a while. Do you have any pet peeves when it comes to sports, Brian?
Pet peeves when it comes to sports?
Yes.
Oh, let's see. I have a lot of pet peeves with like the way sports are covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
I dislike when it's more of a soap opera narrative than it is about the game itself. So ESPN, basically.
First take.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just ESPN's your pet.
Basically, ESPN is my pet peeve.
Okay. Fair enough.
So the dramatization of sports.
Yeah.
No. I disagree. I love the drama. I love the dramatization, but I think it can be kept about the game and not about whose wife makes better TikTok dances or
All
whatever.
right, so
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
dramatization of the players.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Like I
Now I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Fair enough.
Hey, it
I'm
was
pro
cool.
athlete, I
did
think.
like when J. Cole was on the All-Star game. That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. That's another peeve of mine too, is when a writer attacks an athlete's character that he doesn't know personally.
Yeah.
I think it's I just personally would never attack someone's character that I don't know personally.
You mean like when Stephen A. Smith said some nuts?
I mean, you can just end that when Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
When
Are we
Stephen
talking
A.
about
We'll just end
Kwame's
it with
Mama's
Stephen A.
Cooking? Is that what we're talking about?
What?
The Mama's Cooking. Kwame.
Oh,
No, I was going to bring up specifically what Stephen A. Smith said about Shohei Ohtani.
Well, Stephen A. Smith is a clown.
Yeah. Same with
End of
Skip
story.
Bayless too.
All those guys. Like I said, we gotta like wrap things up here, but I'm gonna finish it with this. Those shows, Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, whoever's on those, it's just like two drunk guys in a bar yelling at each other.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
By the way, if ESPN is listening, I will take any job that you have to offer.
Yes,
me.
I will
So-
praise you and Stephen A. Smith
Yeah.
and say thank you, Almighty God.
The same
but
here.
We have to wrap things up here. This has been So What's the Catch on All Sports Cleveland. We will catch us. You can catch us next Wednesday from 2 to 4. Something listened live every Wednesday, 2 to 4. Instagram, Chirk.
No, it's just So What's the Catch. Follow us on the So What's the Catch.
What was the original?
You're never living that down, man. But let's get out of here.
The original line was catch us every Wednesday.
All right. See y'all.
See ya.